students, in this video we'll continue with the numericals of back exercise or questions which are given at the back of chapter 9, Force and Laws of Motion. So let us continue with this 7th question. A 8000 kg engine pulls a train of 5 wagons, each of 2000 kg, along a horizontal track. If the engine exerts a force of 40,000 Newton and the track offers a frictional force of 5,000 Newton, then calculate 3 things you have to calculate. A. The net accelerating force, B. The acceleration of the train, and C. The force of wagon 1 on wagon 2. I'll read it again. A 8000 kg engine pulls a train of 5 wagons. So you can see there I have roughly drawn the diagram. First we have engine. You can also draw a rough diagram. Engine is having mass of 8000 kg. So a 8000 kg engine pulls a train of 5 wagons. There are 5 wagons and each is having mass of 2000 kg. See there. So I have written here force exerted by engine. I have represented by small f. You will understand why I have used small f for this. Is 40,000 Newton and mass of engine is 8000 kg. Mass of each wagon is 2000 kg. So what will be the mass of train then? I have written there, you should write it here. Mass of train is mass of engine, that is 8000, plus there are 5 wagons here. So total number of wagons are 5. So mass of train is 8000 plus 5 into 2000, that is 18,000 kg. So M is mass of the train, which includes mass of engine and all the wagons, 18,000 kg. A 8000 kg engine pulls a train of 5 wagons, each of 2000 kg, along a horizontal track, and the engine exerts a force of 40,000 Newton. And the truck offers a frictional force of 5,000 Newton. So frictional force I have represented by small fr. This is 5,000 Newton. Then calculate A. Net accelerating force, B. The acceleration of the train, and C. The force of wagon 1 on wagon 2. Okay, I hope the question is clear to you. Now here let us see how, first of all, any conversion is required. No, everything is in SI, Newton, kg, Newton, so no need to do any conversion. Let us see the first part now, net accelerating force. So that I have represented by capital F, and hence so capital F could not be used for the same again. So I have used small f for force exerted by engine, frictional force Fr, and the force that we are going to find out, net accelerating force, by capital F. Now to find this, there are 2 forces in the picture. One is 40,000 Newton. See, the arrow is this side because engine is applying a force of 40,000 Newton on the wagons of the train in this direction, okay, in the forward direction. And frictional force Fr is acting in the backward direction. It always opposes the motion, 5,000 Newton. So from the diagram itself we can get the answer that net accelerating force F is equal to the force applied by the engine, capital F, minus Fr, minus frictional force, as these 2 forces are acting in the opposite direction. Okay, so 40,000 minus 5,000 will be 35,000 Newton. So net accelerating force is 35,000 Newton. Okay, remember that engine is also moving along with the wagons. So here this force is not only acting on the wagons, overall we can say this net accelerating force is acting on the complete train. Okay, now next, the acceleration of the train, A, that I have represented by A. We know that F is equal to ma. So if I use F is equal to ma here, like net force is net force is acting on the complete train, mass of train into acceleration of the train. So acceleration will be F is ma, so A will be F by m. F is the net accelerating force that we have calculated in A part, 35,000, divided by total mass of the train, which includes mass of the engine also. So that is 18,000 kg. And after doing the division, we get A is equal to 1.94 meter per second square. Okay, so these were quite simple. C, the force of wagon 1 on wagon 2. Now if we see there, wagon 1, suppose it is connected to wagon 2. We are saying what is the force applied by wagon 1 on wagon 2. But wagon 2 is also connected to the other 3 wagons, or we can say there are 3 wagons connected to the second wagon. So the force which wagon 1 is applying on wagon 2 will be applied on all the 4 wagons, okay, which are connected together, which are lying behind the first wagon. So force of wagon 1 on wagon 2, if we use the formula mass into acceleration, we have to take mass of 4 wagons, not of the second wagon alone, as 3rd, 4th, 5th are also connected to wagon 2. So this point you should remember that we are not going to take mass of the second wagon only, we are going to take mass of all the wagons which are lying behind wagon 2 also, along with mass of the second wagon. So we have mass of 4 wagons into acceleration. Now acceleration that we have found in this part, in B part we have found the acceleration. This acceleration is same for each part of the train. Otherwise how can a train move? Acceleration is not different for different parts. So this mass of 4 wagons into acceleration will have the same value, 1.94 only. And finally we get the answer to be 15,520 newtons. Okay, so this question compared to the numericals that we have solved before, this question seems to be difficult, seems to be a little bit confusing, but if you solve it, if you practice it, it is just a similar case. Only we are given here frictional force also, and little bit after drawing the knowledge, after drawing the diagram, you can easily solve it with practice. Okay, I hope it's clear to you. Now, let us do 8th numerical. An automobile vehicle has a mass of 1500 kg. What must be the force between the vehicle and road if the vehicle is to be stopped with a negative acceleration of 1.7 meter per second square? An automobile vehicle has a mass of 1500 kg. So what is given? Mass M is 1500 kg. What must be the force between the vehicle and road? So force between vehicle and road, that I have represented by F, that we have to find out. When the vehicle is to be stopped with negative acceleration of 1.7 meter per second square. So acceleration is minus 1.7 meter per second square. To stop means we get final velocity is V is 0 meter per second. I have written this in brackets because it won't be required actually for us. Okay, now we are going to find F, M and A are given. So very simple, using Newton's second law of motion we have F is ma. No conversion is required. We'll just put the values and get get the answer of Fs minus 2550 Newton. Okay, again as the answer is negative, we should mention a sentence about this, that why is this negative? You know that this is a case of retardation, or we can say it is a case of force that is opposing the motion of the vehicle. So negative sign indicates that this is an opposing force, or it is a retarding force. This numerical was quite simple, so I hope you have understood. Now let us proceed to the ninth question. What is the momentum of an object of mass m moving with a velocity v? This is a very simple question, MCQs type. There are 4 options given, 4 options, these A, B, C and D. If a body is having mass m, velocity v, what is its momentum? And I I am sure that you know this answer. Mv square, no, mv square, sorry, one is mv square and the, okay, this is mv complete square, this is m into v square, this is half mv square, and last is mv. And we already know that momentum of a body is defined as a product of its mass and velocity. So D option is a correct answer. Okay, mass into velocity. D option is the correct answer for this 9th question. So now 10th question. Using a horizontal force of 200 Newton, we intend to move a wooden cabinet across a floor at a constant velocity. What is the frictional force that will be exerted on the cabinet? Now pay attention here. Applied force F is 2000 Newton, because what is written? Using a horizontal force of 2000 Newton. So applied force F is 2000 Newton. We intend to move a wooden cabinet across a floor at a constant velocity. What is the frictional force that will be exerted on the cabinet? Frictional force, you must have noticed that I am representing it by Fr. This is better. So we are going to find the frictional force that exists between the floor and the cabinet, so as to move the wooden cabinet at a constant velocity. Now we know that when wooden cabinet will move at a constant velocity, remember the Newton's first law of motion? So according to that, if an object has to move at a constant velocity, there should be no external unbalanced force acting on it. So if you know Newton's first law of motion, you can easily answer to this question. To move the wooden cabinet at a constant velocity, net force on the cabinet is equal to 0. And what is the net force? Applied force F minus frictional force Fr. This is a net force, because frictional force always acts in the opposite direction of the applied force. So F minus Fr is a net force acting on the cabinet. That should be 0 if the cabinet has to move at a constant velocity. If F minus Fr is 0, if by doing the simple calculation we get Fr and F are equal, so Fr is equal to F is equal to 200 Newton. It means frictional force should be numerically, in the magnitude, it should be equal to the applied force. So it should be equal to 200 Newton. Okay, direction we know it will be opposite to the applied force, so as to move the cabinet at a constant velocity. I hope these questions are clear to you. They were quite simple. A 12th question is, according to the third law of motion, when we push on an object, the object pushes back on us with equal and opposite force. If the object is a massive truck parked along the roadside, it will probably not move. A student justifies this by answering that the two opposite and equal forces cancel each other. Comment on this logic and explain why the truck does not move. Okay, I'll read it again. According to the third law of motion, when we push up on an object, the object pushes back on us with an equal and opposite force. We know this. Whenever a force is applied by one body on the other body applies equal and opposite force on the first body as per Newton's third law of motion. If the object is a massive truck parked along the roadside, it will probably not move. We know that if we try to push the truck which is parked on the road, it is not going to move although we apply force. So here it is given that a student justifies this. He explains this, that the truck does not move when we apply a force on it, by answering that the two opposite and equal forces cancel each other. Comment on this logic and explain why the truck does not move. You should remember, now for this the explanation is very simple, that we should remember action and reaction, yes, they are equal and opposite, but they act on two different bodies, so they do not cancel each other. Okay, so you know that for the two forces to balance each other, when we say two forces are balanced, when they act on the same body at the same time and when they are equal and opposite, equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So for the two forces, even if they are equal and opposite, they will not be balanced if they are acting on different bodies. They should be acting on the same body. Here, action and reaction. Every time whenever we talk about action and reaction, yes, these two are forces and they are equal and opposite, but at the same time they never act on the same body. They act on two different bodies. So they cannot be balanced forces, so they do not cancel each other. You can have a separate question also. Although action and reaction are equal and opposite, why are they not balanced? Still the same explanation can be given for the question. Okay, same answer can be written for this question. Now next was, first of all we were supposed to explain this. Next it was said why the truck does not move. See, force is applied on the truck. This we have discussed many times before also. If a big stone is there, if a small child tries to pushes the rock, okay, and he does not succeed, it is not that he has not applied the force. It is same as if you are trying to push the wall. You push the wall, you apply a force on the wall, but wall does not move. This is because the frictional force that is there between wall and the ground. Similarly, between the stone and the ground. In this case, truck does not move because although we apply the force, but for a thing to move, the applied force should be greater than the frictional force. Okay? So you must have seen in some movies they show that, you know, a giant comes and breaks the wall or moves a wall. That is because we can consider if a heavy thing is kept and he is able to move the heavy thing, not wall will be generally broken. If you consider a big, in movies they show a big rock is kept and you know a giant comes and moves a rock. That is because the applied force, he is able to apply the force which is greater than the frictional force between the rock and the ground, which is not possible for a normal person. So here also it is not possible for a normal person to apply a force on the truck which is greater than the frictional force between the truck and the road. Truck and the road means tires of the truck and the road. So truck does not move because the force, the push we applied on it, not cars, or force applied on truck only you should write, must be less. In fact, it is usually very less than the frictional force between the truck and the road. It should be truck here, remember. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you, and you should remember that action and reaction they are never balanced, although they are equal and opposite, because they act on different bodies. And also to move any object, even if we apply a force on it, it is going to move only when the applied force is greater than the frictional force between the body and the surface on which the body is placed. Now let us proceed to the 13th question. So now the last question of today's video. Let us see the 13th question. A hockey ball of mass 200 gram traveling at 10 meters per second is struck by a hockey stick so as to return it along its original path with a velocity of 5 meters per second. Calculate the change in momentum of the hockey ball by the force applied by the hockey stick. Okay, so here we have a hockey ball having mass 200 gram. So given mass m is 200 gram. It is traveling at 10 meters per second initially. So u initial velocity is 10 meters per second. It is struck by a hockey stick so as to return it along its original path with a velocity of 5 meters per second. So final velocity v is 5 meters per second, but remember the ball is struck and it is traveling along the original path only, but in the backward direction, in the opposite direction as that of initial velocity. So v should be taken as negative. If you don't put the negative sign there, the complete answer will go wrong. U is 10 meters per second, but v, as it is in the opposite direction of u, it should be minus 5 meters per second. Now the question is, calculate the change in momentum of the hockey ball by the force applied. So you have to find change in momentum. We know that change in momentum is final momentum minus initial momentum. Final momentum is mv minus mu. Take m out, v minus u, but you are going to put the values now, and remember v is negative. And after you do the simplification calculations, you get the final answer to be minus 3 kg meter per second. Why it is minus? Because here in this case, the final momentum is actually negative. Okay, so you are getting the negative answer here after calculation. So it depends upon which value is greater, which is smaller, what are the signs of the two. Okay, so here I hope you have understood. So change in momentum can be positive, it can be negative also, as in this case. Don't forget to write the correct units at the end of the answer. Hope the video is clear to you. So we'll continue and try to finish the remaining numericals most probably in the next video, and the chapter will be completed. Thank you, students.